EarthRanger is a tool that's used a lot by the reserve management and external conservationists and ecologists. But I did want to talk about how long-run members can use it within that sort of environment as well. So the first thing I wanted to cover was just to say, share what it actually is. And please tell me if you can see the screen that says EarthRanger at a glance.
Yeah, that's it.
Great, thank you. So what it does, it provides a centralized view of everything that's happening in a protected area or an area of interest. And that could be a number of different things. It could be animals that are moving around. It could be people, vehicles, and any other sort of information that can be captured in the field or remotely sensed through satellites and other types of information. And they're very specific. So what EarthRanger's core strength is to integrate a lot of different data sources or systems that collect and create data and bring them into one platform, being our web application. So if we just look at those different types of data to begin with, it could be remote automated feeds, which could be things like, are there fires in an area, or what is the greenness of an area? Are there illegal fishing activities in a marine protected area? Are there camera traps that are capturing certain images and which then have machine learning applied to it so that you can isolate particular species? So that is the one type of automated feed that comes in. The other is tracked subjects, as we refer to them. So a subject is anything that is, it could be an animal, could be a person, could be a vehicle. So if you think of all of those three different types of subject that move around in a protected area, from an operational point of view, you can manage things really easily. But it also gives you a command and control, but also if you have guides out in the field, you know exactly where they are, they know where they are, they know where their counterparts are, and they could, if given the right permissions, know where certain animals are that are being tracked. So I spoke about the different platforms. We have two platforms. There's a web application, which is running on a computer, running on Google Chrome browser. And that's typically in an office or in an operations room and projected onto a big screen. And then for people in the field, they would use a mobile app, which is a subset. It's not the same app. It's a slightly smaller subset of what's in the web application for people who need to navigate around a protected area, go to certain events or to different subjects, and also to capture data. And that was the third type of data capture, where you're capturing in-field information on a number of different topics that has some sort of time and geographic reference to it. So it could be a guide saying, here's a key species that they've cited, or it could be a pothole in a road, or it could be some sort of illegal activity again. And then they could then navigate to other points as well. So the way that the software is used and where we originated from was law enforcement, but that's we've expanded way beyond that to include things like human-wildlife conflict, ecological management. There's a big component of animal movement behavior, understanding that, and then other relatively mundane topics like logistics. So is a fence broken? I mentioned a pothole in the road. And the great thing is that it doesn't cost anybody anything except for ourselves. So we're a fully funded philanthropic venture. We host the software in the cloud. The software will always be yours. We do the software development at our costs. So there will never be any cost of EarthRanger to the end user. There might be some equipment costs like a computer and internet and smartphones to capture the data. But that's about all that you would expect to lay out. So if we now look at how long-range members can get involved, I did mention guides. So guides going out into the field, they're an extra set of eyes. And what they can do is any sort of thing that is relevant to any other part of the protected area, they could capture on the app, and then that would get fed through into the database and end up in the right places. So it could be things like wildlife sightings, could be, I mentioned, potholes, washaways, illegal activities. A lot of ecological data is collected by some of the guides, and things like broken fences. And this would be done on a mobile app or on a tablet. And in some cases, you could involve some of the guests, where you could give them a tablet. It's really easy to use, and the guide could guide them into saying, well, we've seen a pride of lions, let's capture this as a key species sighting. And the 15-year-old who's on the vehicle can always capture that really easily. And what this does is it enables the guests to become a lot more involved in the activities within the protected area. And they want to do more than just to see what's out there. They want to be involved and know that they are also making a difference. So by capturing some of this key information, they get this feeling of involvement. Other type of things that can happen is that you could have a central operations room where a lot of the activities take place. And I know that one or two long run members have actually opened up a window into a room like you can see on the screen here, where they can be brought through. Typically high net worth individuals can see how things are being run, and they feel a lot more comfortable to provide funds to those protected areas if they know exactly what's going on. A lot of the time, some of the information is confidential, so they won't see everything, but they can get an insight into what's happening in the protected area. Something that is quite common these days is that tourists are getting involved with some of the actual activities. What we've got here is a view of a tracking device being put onto a rhino, and guests pay money to get involved in that. And again, they feel a lot more involved and feel as if they are contributing to conservation as well. So, as I mentioned right at the beginning, long run members are typically the lodges that are involved. But now, and most of our clients are normally the protected area managers. But with those two working together, the long run members can contribute to the protected area management. And here's a list of some of the sites, long run members that are actually using EarthRanger, and that this is expanding. These are all African, but we are worldwide. We've got a lot of sites in Latin America, South America, and that's where a lot of the citizen science comes in as well. So we've integrated tools like iNaturalist and eBird into EarthRanger. So citizen scientists can contribute to those databases that are out there. So I'll leave it at that and see if there are any questions, Rosie.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, it really is powerful. And we look forward to seeing that list of member users grow. I know there are a few in Latin America that are potentially coming on board soon, so that's really exciting. We have got one question, which maybe you can answer in 30 seconds before we crack on with our member presentations. And that is, how do you address the resistance to the adoption of technology in conservation? I think a lot of these practitioners are pretty old school. They're obviously operating in very remote areas and are generally offline when they're in the field. How are you tackling that and really positioning a platform like EarthRanger as a trusted tool and an opportunity to scale your impact in conservation rather than detract from it?
Okay, thanks, Rosie. Yeah, it's becoming easier and easier as people become more familiar with smartphones. That is about as literate as one needs to be, because we do run off smartphones. And as a bigger proportion of people working in the field are younger generations, that comes naturally. You do get the odd site that is stuck in the past, but they're soon catching up these days. We do also have offline capabilities. So Normally, you would have some sort of connectivity around lodges or operations rooms. But once you get out into the field, there's often no signal. There are satellite-based communications and other tools, but we've written the software so that it can be used offline. So tracks are buffered on the phone, any observations are buffered on the phone. And once the people on phones get back to the areas where there's Wi-Fi, everything just synchronizes automatically through to the cloud. So we're making it easier and easier as possible for less literate, computer literate people to use it. And that includes different languages as well. So I think we're up to about 7 or 8 different languages from around the globe now. English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Khmer, Thai. I did mention Spanish and Portuguese, and that's growing daily. So that makes things a lot easier as well for people in the field.